Once upon a time, in a small town by the sea, there lived a man named Elias. He was known by everyone as a calm and patient person, someone who rarely lost his temper. But Elias had a secret. He struggled with difficult people just like anyone else. The difference was, he had learned a few lessons from the ancient philosopher Seneca, lessons that helped him keep his cool, even when others tested his patience. This is the story of how Elias faced one of his greatest challenges and came out wiser on the other side. Elias worked as a librarian in the town's only library. It was a quiet job, one he loved deeply, but it wasn't without its troubles. One day, a man named Victor began visiting the library regularly. Victor was loud, demanding, and often rude. He would complain about the books, the chairs, even the lighting. No matter how politely Elias responded, Victor always found something wrong. At first, Elias felt his patience wearing thin. He would go home frustrated, wondering why Victor had to be so difficult. But then he remembered the words of Seneca. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Elias realized that much of his frustration came not from Victor's actions, but from his own thoughts about them. He imagined Victor as some impossible obstacle, a storm he couldn't weather. But what if Victor was simply a man with his own struggles, his own pain? Elias decided to shift his perspective. Instead of seeing Victor as an enemy, he chose to see him as a teacher, someone sent to test his patience and help him grow. The next time Victor came into the library, Elias greeted him with a warm smile, even though Victor immediately began complaining. Instead of arguing, Elias listened. He nodded and said, I understand this isn't what you were hoping for. Let's see how we can make it better. Victor paused, surprised. No one had ever responded to him this way before. Slowly over time, Victor's visits became less about complaining and more about conversation. Elias learned that Victor had recently lost his job and felt powerless. His rudeness was a shield, a way to protect himself from feeling invisible. Seneca once wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Elias took this to heart. Rather than mirroring Victor's negativity, he chose kindness. He didn't do this to change Victor, though that did happen, but to free himself from the weight of anger. He understood that difficult people are not obstacles to our peace. They are opportunities to practice it. One afternoon, Victor came to the library looking troubled. Instead of snapping at Elias as usual, he sat down and sighed. I don't know why I've been so hard on you, he admitted. You've been nothing but kind. Elias smiled and replied, we all have difficult days. The important thing is that we don't let them harden our hearts. From that day on, Victor changed. He still had his rough edges, but he was no longer the storm he once was. And Elias? He walked away with a deeper understanding of Seneca's wisdom, that true strength lies not in avoiding conflict, but in navigating it without losing yourself. The lesson here is simple, but powerful. Difficult people will always exist. They will test us, annoy us, sometimes even hurt us. But we have a choice. We can let them dictate our emotions, or we can rise above. Like Elias, we can remember that their behavior is about them, not us. We can choose patience, understanding, and kindness, not because they deserve it, but because we deserve peace. And in doing so, we become living proof of Seneca's greatest teaching, that the wise man is neither disturbed by the present nor afraid of the future. He simply meets each challenge with a calm heart. So the next time you face a difficult person, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, what can this moment teach me? And remember, just as Elias did, that the real victory isn't in changing others, it's in mastering yourself.